In this video today, I want to talk about the WWE Network. The reason being, in just under 3 weeks' time, February the 24th, it will be 2 years since the original launch of the WWE Network in the United States. Obviously, since then, it has rolled out to various other countries. In fact, on January the 13th, it was 1 year since the launch of the WWE Network here in the UK. So 2 years on, and what is the network looking like right now? Well, obviously the archive stuff. The past pay-per-views events are one of the most appealing things to subscribers, which obviously includes myself. All of the ECW and WCW pay-per-views, the vast majority of the WWE pay-per-views, they're all still on there. Of course, they don't have the, I believe there's still a couple of people saying that there's a couple of international events that are not up there, and certainly, of course, due to the events of the Benoit tragedy, the 2007 edition of Night of Champions is not included, of course, as well. So that is still up there. The pay-per-views, they are all still available to watch, which is great for fans to go back and watch that stuff. They've got obviously added other archived content to the WWE Network. Obviously, talking to WCW, they've got the Clash of the Champions, all 30 plus of the Clash of the Champions. I think there's 34, 35 of them. There's ECW Hardcore TV. There's episodes as well from different promotions. There's World Class Championship Wrestling. There is episodes from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Mid-South, AWA, the Global Wrestling Wrestling Federation. Although those episodes are actually the best of USWA. There's also selected episode of the NWA World Championship Wrestling Saturday edition from episodes going from November 2nd, 1985 to September 22nd, 1987. So about 55 episodes of that. So a lot of the archive footage. Now, when you're talking about archive footage, not every fan will obviously want to look and see that kind of stuff. You know, I'll get to the modern products, etc. later on. A lot of people my age, you know, starting to approach their mid-30s, 30 plus years old, who have grown up, of course, watching World Championship Wrestling. And in fact, one of the reasons why I've subscribed to the network is to see a lot of the WCW pay-per-views. I've got quite a few on VHS, but you know, to watch them in high definition and you know, to be able to go back and watch them at my leisure, just watch whatever one. And one of the great things actually about having the archive footage, and lately I have noticed that over the last about month or so, they've added a hell of a lot more of the episodes of WCW Monday Nitro. To the last count, they have approximately 204 episodes. I went through it last night. I believe they're now up to from episode 1 in September 95, I believe it is, to I think it's July 1999. There's about 204 episodes of Monday Nitro. So the vast majority of well, certainly I would say a big majority of the episodes of WCW Monday Nitro are up, because according to the Monday Nitro Wikipedia page, there were 287 episodes of Monday Nitro in total, of course, ending March 26, 2001. So it's great for a fan like myself, and there's one thing I've said before, but one of the great things you can do now, they've also put obviously archived Raws and archived SmackDowns as well. So if you want, you could do it with WWE as well, but just for an example, because obviously the Attitude Era is a hot topic, and I'll just touch on that more later on as well. But if you're a fan like myself of WCW, who may not have seen every single episode of Monday Nitro, and like I said, I'm using WCW as an example, you can use WWE as an example as well, watching Raws and then including SmackDowns later on, but to keep it simple, obviously there's no Thunders, no WCW Thursday Night Thunder or WCW Saturday nights. But for the Nitros, the main program, it's similar to these days. A lot of people watch Raw, not as many people watch SmackDown, and I don't know how many people really watch Superstars or any of the other offshoot WWE programming. But certainly you could sit there and you could watch episode of Nitro after episode of Nitro, then watch. So say you watch 3 or 4 episodes of Nitro, and suddenly it's time for Bash at the Beach, Spring Stampede, Starrcade, Uncensored, Halloween Havoc, whatever the pay-per-view is. You can actually sit now and watch the episodes of Nitros. Then, when they're talking whatever episode, say episode 4, you watched episode 1, you watched episode 2, 3 and 4. On episode 4 they say, well, coming up this Sunday is Road Wild. This Sunday, or whatever day it is, the upcoming next show is Road Wild. So you can go then and go and select that year's Road Wild pay-per-view and watch the pay-per-view in full. And then after you watch the Road Wild, and same whatever timetable you have, it could be the next day, it could be several days later, whatever. But then you watch Road Wild. Then you can immediately jump to episode 5 of WCW Nitro, the aftermath of Road Wild. See what plays out, the storylines, the matches. You could do that. Like I said, we do that at WCW. Then you could watch episode 7, 8, 9, whatever, until the next pay-per-view event. Hopefully they will add Thunders eventually. I do hope that they're continuing working on the more episodes of Nitro, so eventually. And I'm sure they will, because it's been an amazing amount because when the Nitros were actually uploaded, there was quite a gap on some of them, up to about 6 months on a few of them, between the episodes. You would say like episode 120 to episode, say, 170. So it'd be like a 6 month gap, however that works out. But certainly about a 6 month gap, I worked out on at least one of the 2 of the episodes. The gap between them was just under 6 months, and so they've now filled all of those episodes over. It seems, from quickly going through it earlier on last night, they've definitely got from episode 1 to episode 204. So you can go all through them. You could actually watch all of those Nitro episodes. Like I said, they've done the same with WWE, with Raws and SmackDown. So you can, and I know it's very easy use footage. I might do it myself to take episodes of Nitro or episodes of Thunder and discuss maybe what's happening on both of them. I just take one episode of Nitro, talk about what I thought of it all these years on, about the talent. And so many websites, so many blogs, so many people are doing that obviously as well. So there's a hell of a lot of that kind of Attitude Era archive footage. There's also others, like Tribute to the Troops, Tuesday Night Titans from 1984 to 95. There's every episode of Tough Enough. There's Hall of Fame ceremonies, and like I said, I was talking episodes of Raw and SmackDown and AWA, Mid-South, limited episodes of Mid-South, Smoky Mountain, and AWA, etc. There's only about 10 or so episodes of that. There's actually a lot more of the World Class Championship Wrestling from Texas, the famous Von Erichs. At least that's the good thing about that as well. Over the years, not just WCW and ECW, WWE have acquired the video library of many different promotions, from World Class to AWA to Stampede Wrestling. Stampede Wrestling episodes were up, but they've been taken down apparently due to some issue with Bret Hart and the ownership of his matches, which is unfortunate. And I would hope to see them back, but at least it gives us those limited episodes to give us a glimmer of hope that WWE, and I'm not going to go into how WWE owns these video libraries and what people think of it, because I'm of differing opinions as well. But I'm hoping actually that we will see some more of the video libraries of these companies being uploaded over the next few years, because there's huge potential for this WWE network, which I'll talk about at the end. Now, also, you're talking about one of the great things about the WWE network as well is the modern day product. Before I get into the original programming and the rest of it, I'm going to talk about the modern product. Obviously, WWE have international deals with television broadcasters all across the world. And like, I don't know what exactly deals are in place. I don't know what relationships are like between WWE and various international broadcasters. And I can't sit here and talk about how WWE is presented in many, many different countries. But what I do know, certainly here in the UK, they're programming Monday Night Raw and still the pay-per-views on Box Office. Modern day WWE program Raw, SmackDown. I think they still show Superstars in Main Event. I'm pretty sure I'm sure I saw Main Event on one of the Sky Sports channels. Anyway, Sky, a satellite broadcaster, is the broadcaster for WWE programming here in the UK, which led to before the WWE Network was launched in the UK. Like I said, January 13th, 2015 was that the network officially launched here in the UK. Genuinely a lot of fears, a lot of unknowns when it came to the presentation, the access to the WWE Network. Like I said, it's been launched in many different programs. Canada, recently in Japan on January the 5th this year, it became available in Japan. And there were many fears in the UK about how we would access the WWE Network, what we would get as well. Some reports due to the relationship with Sky for showing pay-per-views, more and more over the years has been turned into from you could watch it with no extra payment on the Sky Sports channels to actually box office programming, which meant we would have to pay. Now it's up to just under £20 each pay-per-view, which obviously it's a huge saving if you're a subscriber to the WWE Network, because it's $9.99 per month. You get access to the whole shebang. One of the podcasts, and I think the kind of reference or the wording is quite commonplace now. They call it OTT or over the top. The various different on-demand subscription services. I actually wrote a blog on Niels Cairns on WordPress about changing technology, just a little bit, just very general one. But Niels Cairns on WordPress, I wrote a little bit about different technology that I've seen throughout my years. It's not really in depth as great as I like, but certainly all of these on-demand services, that was we get them in the UK, Netflix, etc. So we were really unsure because of WWE's relationship with Sky, what we would get, whether it be a Sky channel, a television channel that we would have to pay an extra subscription for. Would we just simply get access online, through the WWE website, and we would only ever be able to watch the live streaming that WWE do. Of course, they have the live streaming aspect of WWE Network. It's really, sometimes it's quite random programs. It's quite random in the taken from the video library. I know they've probably got a plan. I don't know how far out they plan it, but certainly there's a live stream aspect. We thought maybe we'd only get access to the live streaming aspect and none of the on-demand. That was also reported heavily prior to the launch, but thankfully, like I said, January 13th last year, we got full access. There was a delay. It was supposed to be launched in the previous October. I think WWE had to work out things with Sky. That was the report, so it was never actually confirmed completely officially by either WWE or Sky. So that was the base. The report. Some of the reports were that the delay was literally last minute. It was something like an hour, if not even that the launch was scrubbed. It's like NASA calling off a space shuttle or a rocket launch at the very, very last moment. It was literally about 45 minutes, I think, till the WWE Network was supposed to launch in October 2014, and then suddenly we got a notice up saying the launch had actually been postponed. Eventually it said January 13th, 2015, we finally got access, and it was thankfully complete access to the entire WWE Network, so we can watch the live streaming the WWE, including the pay-per-views, which is great. Like I said, great thing. Saves a lot of money. Plus, the whole entire on-demand video library. So it's great. We're really overjoyed. Like I said, they do have the current programming, like Superstars, Main Event, the Raws and SmackDown, obviously due to these kind of, trying to get back to my point, of the international television deals, they are 30 days behind. Now, obviously that some people, I mean, to be honest, on the internet, I don't know whether it's an aspect of online stuff this year, 2016. It probably has been. I know it's been around for a while, but certainly it's something that I've seen over the course of the last month and a bit since we started 2016. A lot of people, and I know some people say it's 10% of online people, but some people's complaints and arguments, if something slightly goes wrong, they want a load of things for free, and they're really not being fair, and basically they're not really being lack of common sense, really, is what I could describe it as. Something slightly goes wrong, then they want to load and load of stuff for free instantly. It annoys me a little bit. So, due to the relationship with the television, trying to get back to my point, it's a 30-day wait between episodes airing for Raw. So, say the February 3rd Raw will will be on the WWE Network in March. On March 3rd or 4th, it will go up onto the WWE Network. Now, I think that's actually a great thing for WWE. I know it's a little bit behind, and if you've got to switch your equipment off because you're going on holiday, you might have to miss a couple. I know there's loads of various ways, taping and so forth. WWE stuff, certainly here in the UK, doesn't appear really on the on-demand services, apart from the WWE Network. There's no real catch-up, and I've done it before a couple of times, forgot to set my tape. It is repeated a couple of times, but if you're away for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, you might have to switch your stuff off, in case of fire hazards, etc. It's great. I think it's actually a great thing because you can go back and you watch the episodes, and it's also a great thing that you can watch. And I know it doesn't really happen these modern times, but if there is a storyline developing, you could always go back and you could watch previous episodes of Raw and SmackDown and realise, oh, that was the turning point for this storyline. That's when that storyline came into being, and that's what happened with that story. You go back and you can look back at the episodes just a few weeks ago, and you can actually realise, that was I thought that was a throwaway match. That becomes important because of this reason or that reason. So it's a great thing. WWE continue to put up the episodes of Raw and SmackDown. Now, obviously, NXT. NXT is one of the main draws of the WWE Network as well, and I'm a regular watcher of NXT. I'm a couple of weeks behind right now because I really do need to sit down and watch a couple of episodes, but NXT, one of the hottest brands in sports entertainment and professional wrestling right now. Great roster that they've got. They've just signed Austin Aries, they've got Baron Corbin, Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, Bayley. They've got a tremendous amount of talent there. Obviously, one of the things that WWE have had in the UK is actually a continual presence for NXT. Since it began as a quasi-reality show, where it's got the guys like Daniel Bryan doing different challenges, running through tires and doing various tasks. NXT has been shown in the UK. It suddenly disappeared just before the launch of the WWE Network. Of course, it's now got its home on the WWE Network. Although the earlier episodes are not on there, I would like to see the episodes from really from when it started as an actual developmental brand. So away from the challenges, they could put up the challenges if they want. Those challenge episodes and so forth. But from when it became an actual developmental brand for WWE, a developmental system, I would like to see that being put up. And obviously every quarter of the year, every 4 months, they have an NXT TakeOver special live on the network as well. Obviously that's great, fans can access that. And I've always said and I've seen a lot the last couple of years for the WWE video games. I would like to see, and I'm hoping we get it next year, because I do feel that this is the year, certainly this year, and I think certainly next year as well, is their years that I think the WWE video game next one will obviously be 2K17 by 2K Sports, who have of course extended their working relationship with WWE now. This would be the next couple of years to really concentrate on the newer generation of WWE superstars. It's great that, like I said, we get to know Bayley, we get to see Baron Corbin, we get to know these people, we get to know their characters, we get to follow them, we get to become fans of them, we get to understand them. It's a rare position. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who go through the independent scene and then go to places like WWE or TNA, and we can watch them throughout their careers. But it's been rare that and it's still not happening, obviously, because it's very early days yet. But there will be people eventually like Bayley and Baron Corbin who we can see blossom from the early days of their careers right through to the days on the main roster and eventually through to the retirement, which is a great thing for WWE. They have obviously these people who are going to be huge names. I can pretty much guarantee they will be, and WWE have all of that video content of there. So any DVD specials, any documentary things, they can have them right there, so they can have all of that footage. So it works out in both ways for the fans and the stars themselves. So they know that some of them will feel that their best work was in NXT, not perhaps on the main roster. At least a couple of the matches might have been their favourite on NXT. WWE. We as fans, that's one of the great things about NXT, we as fans can follow these people right the way throughout their career. And also the NXT, lately NXT, like I said, little signing Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Shinsuke Nakamura is supposed to be appearing at the NXT Dallas show. There's some it's attracting some great talent, some great international talent. I know WWE are continually on the lookout right now for international talent. They're still apparently looking at a few people. Again, apparently, I've heard it's written on a couple of websites that WWE have sent more kind of feelers out there and scouts to look at various independent shows across the world right now. I don't know what's happening, but I don't know whether they've really got anybody else that they can really sign. But it's a great thing. It's a very attractive brand. A lot of people don't like the WWE main roster stuff, so at least it's kind of typical of, I would say, the kind of the 1990s wrestling product. A lot of people want to really brand themselves as a so-called alternative product, something different, something unique. And to be honest, there's so many of those companies right now, as trying to market themselves as unique or as an alternative to WWE, which obviously is more places for guys to work, more places for talent to develop, and then even if those talents get scooped up by TNA or WWE or New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think that gives a great opportunity for fresher, newer talent to come through. And it's kind of almost like continually cutting the grass. You cut the top layer off, that top layer goes to WWE or TNA, but you've got the fresh roots coming through. You've got the fresh talent coming through all of the system. So it also gives, the NXT being an alternative, it gives those younger guys something to aim for as well. Instead of trying to aim for WWE, which, obviously being a professional wrestler trying to make it in the business is extremely difficult. It's very, very difficult to do. And to aim for WWE, let's be honest here, you're aiming for WWE. That's a massive thing to aim for. I mean, I'm also going back to the NASA kind of saying here, but you're, instead of what's that phrase? So I can't remember who said it, something like, don't aim for the stars, aim for the moon, then from the moon you can go to the stars. I can't remember what exactly the phrase is, but those guys can aim, instead of aiming for the highest possible level. I mean, you're talking about WWE right up there, the highest there. You got NXT there. That's if somebody's actually going from that level, or from the lowest level, perhaps the jump up to WWE is a huge leap, not quite possible for them. But if they make the leap to NXT, to this level, to that level, from the lowest level, jump up to NXT, then jump up to WWE. That is that's something that they can do, because obviously NXT, there's a lot of great talent there. It's somewhere the whole NXT setup, the Performance Center, and I don't really mean to talk about NXT so much, but you get to a level, and then you have the opportunity of working on your performances, whatever it is, whether it be your wrestling, your entertaining, your whatever factors you feel that WWE are looking for. You have the opportunity there in NXT, the Performance Center, to work on those various aspects. And then your work in NXT can springboard you to WWE. So it's a great advantage. It's a great thing for wrestlers as well. Now, talking about WWE training about the network, I think one of the great things is about the network is WWE have not just thrown a huge lot of archive footage up on the WWE network and left it all there. I mean, like I said, they've got loads and loads of video libraries: NWA, AWA, Mid-South, Stampede, and of course all the World Wrestling Federation stuff. I don't know how, in fact, far back the WWE have of their own stuff, back to the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. I don't know how far back, what the earliest archive footage, and actually, I won't go into the reasons why, but in fact, recently I've, kind of the family, have actually gained kind of ownership, not really ownership, but gained possession, let's say, of family stuff, family movies, old family movies, Super 8 film and so forth. And modern technology, if it wasn't so pricey, I could easily do it, but there is technology available to take old footage, and various specialists that do it now, and they can convert it. Much like WWE always have to do it with a lot of their stuff with the AWA, and I'm sure DVD, and that's very new, so, and digital. So that's one of the great things. WWE have actually taken the time on many of that stuff to actually digitalise it and work on it and remaster it, both audio and visual wise, to make it look really good. I mean, some of the WCW Nitro stuff does look like it could have been done just this week. If you didn't know it was 1996, and it could have been 2016. It could maybe not been about 20 years earlier. So we've gained possession for some family stuff, and there's specialists out there, there's technology out there that you can transfer these things. So I don't know whether WWE are interested or are looking to do that. I know that there have been various reports. There used to be reports occasionally in the WWE magazine, which is sadly now defunct. They've only got the kids magazine now, but there used to occasionally be reports about archive footage well before the WWE Network was even certainly thought of. I know at the part of Vince McMahon wanted something like the WWE Network many moons ago, a few decades ago. He apparently dreamed this up, but obviously technology wasn't there. But you used to get picture articles of look, this is all the old footage we have from many moons ago, many years ago. So there is the potential for WWE, obviously, for them, money isn't a limit, so they can easily pay for getting any stuff transferred. It is expensive. I looked into it a little bit to try and get some, get some stuff transferred to like DVD, but it's very expensive. And there is the technology. There's definitely the resources that WWE have to transfer that film. So I don't know how much of the actual kind of archived WWE, Worldwide Wrestling Federation and Titan Sports stuff that they've got, but I'd like to see it. But one of the great things, trying to move on here, is the original program. Like I said, WWE have not just stuck up a load of archived footage up on the WWE Network. They've actually invested in, and quite heavily, in original programming. I mean, I've got the list here of just some of the, a lot of the WWE original programs up there. WrestleMania I mean, there's some of the obvious ones. Legends House, which was filmed in preparation for the original launch of the WWE Network in 2012, which obviously didn't come to being, but it's one of the first programs that was put up on the WWE Network. There is Beyond the Ring. I would like to see them added. They've not added it to it for quite a while, but there's Beyond the Ring, documentary portions of previously released WWE DVDs. There's the ones like Jake Snake Roberts, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper. Who else is there? There's a couple of WCW ones on there. I'd like to see those. Some more of them being added, like the Owen Hart one. I'd like to see them add that. WWE Slam City, the animated series. There's WWE Rivalries, documenting different rivals. I still think the Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair episode is better. Is the best one. It's WWE 24. We've seen the documentary series. Everybody loves the behind the scenes stuff, and there's obviously things like the podcast as well, Live with Chris Jericho, the Stone Cold podcast. There's Legends with JBL, and there's a couple of interesting ones coming up there as well, including with Booker T. So they're saying Monday Night Wars, the documentary series about the Monday Night Wars. Obviously, WWE are really reluctant to let the Monday Night Wars, the Attitude Era die. Obviously in WWE 2K16, what is one of the main, certainly the main kind of gameplay modes is the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing, where you go and replay through much of his career. It's all based obviously during the Attitude Era. And there's various other ones. WWE Culture Shock. There's the new ones, Ride Along, Table for Three. There is as seen on YouTube, and Breaking Ground series as well. Which I really enjoyed. The Breaking Ground, things like Breaking Ground and WWE 24, and where was it? The kind of WWE rivalries and so forth. A lot of the behind the scenes stuff. Obviously, a lot of people know WWE is far more open these days behind the scenes things. The wrestling industry is in its entirety far more open to behind the scenes stuff than ever before in ever previous years. So that is one of the main attractions as well. Series like WWE 24 and rivalries and so forth. You go behind the scenes and you see the kind of inner workings of the company, and that's another thing that we might see. I think we could see a lot more of. I mean, there was apparently thoughts that original plans when it was talked about the WWE Network launching in the UK, that there would be an upcoming series. I think that's what actually ended up being WWE 24, but certainly there was there was certainly in the promotion stuff in the WWE Network before it got launched in the UK. They talked about a lot of unfiltered behind the scenes footage in a series showing all that. I mean, we've seen it in the likes of the story of WrestleMania, and a couple of behind the scenes where they film everything. I think it's the WrestleMania story where you see Lex Luger's entrance at WrestleMania 9, and Vince McMahon is talking him through it. This will happen, then you'll stand here, and then the girls will hold the mirrors up and watch the pyro will come out of the top of those the mirrors, and you pose right here, and all of the behind the scenes footage that the WWE must have nowadays. Thousands upon thousands of hours of behind the scenes footage that's never seen the light of day. They film day-to-day operations. I would like to see a series about putting the shows together. I mean physically. We do see it, putting the sets together. I would actually like to see maybe just a one-off documentary talking to the road crew, the ring crew, really showing fans step by step what it takes to put a WWE show together. I would like to see kind of some of that stuff. So, WWE have got a lot of original programming, which is great. Like I said, one of the great things about WWE, they're not just, they're not just actually throwing a load of archive footage up there, running it through whatever systems they have to make it look good, and then just shoving it up there. They're actually investing in new program, new content all the time. It's one of the, I think certainly it's one of the most active on-demand subscription services, whatever you want to call, over the top services out there. I think it's for new content being added, I think it's certainly, if not the one of the most active ones. I'm not just talking about things like NXT or adding 4-week-old Raws and SmackDowns or NXT specials when they come along. With all these new series, Ride Along, like I said, 24, all Tough Enough as well. They had a new series, Tough Enough. Every series of Tough Enough is now on the WWE Network. So certainly, for brand new content, I think the future looks good. Like I said, they're actually continuing to work on it and bring it to the fans. So overall, is the WWE Network really working? Well, yeah, I would say it certainly is. For fans' perspective, we get to see all that archive footage. Whether you're interested in ECW or WCW or AWA or Smoky Mountain, I'm sure they will eventually add more of those episodes. I don't think perhaps in a few years we'll see a lot of more of the libraries up. I don't see it for the immediate future because it'll kind of take away it's kind of was it catch-22, because that kind of archive footage will attract people to subscribe or check out a free month on the WWE Network. But yet again, it'll take a little bit of the attention away from the from the WWE programming that they've got. When it comes to the I don't know whether you hear that. It's just the rattling of the heaters. I don't know why they keep doing that nightly and right now. I think there's something error on the system. But anyway, all that footage kind of, it attracts fans, but it'll take fans actually from watching WWE content. So I can't see entire libraries being added immediately. I think it'll take quite a while before we do. When you're, like I said, the new content, obviously we get to see episodes every Wednesday of NXT. Again, New Generation, I talked about that earlier. When in live pay-per-views, like I said, it saves fans a hell of a lot of money as well. Apparently it's something like $50 a pay-per-view in the US. Like I said, it's about £20, just under £20 in the UK. For $9.99, you get a 30-day access on a rolling subscription to the WWE Network. It saves fans a hell of a lot of money. And it can really certainly attract fans. Like I said, there's thousands of hours of footage up there now that fans can check out and look through at their leisure. So again, even if I don't know, I'm sure Vince McMahon, possibly Triple H's of this world, they may think, okay, we'll put some of this stuff up to attract fans, but it will take away from WWE programming. You're really kind of WWE are winning because they're getting fans money. I think it is working. And one of the bonuses, I think, and I've said it since the beginning, is actually the WWE Network works for the older stars as well. Whether you're a WWE Hall of Famer, whether you're a WWE legend, whether you were an ECW, whether you're an AWA, Mid-South, or whether you're just a WWE alumni, a former star, say, like Paul London, Brian Kendrick, or former WCW star, like, say, Juventud Guerrera, or Road Warrior Animal, for example, or the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, or, whoever you are, the WWE Network works for you as well. If you're a former star, a star or somebody whose stuff is on the WWE Network, the network works for you as well. It used to be in the days gone by that, and it's a lot more. I mean, again, it could be another video in itself talking about the use of former WWE talent or major stars on the WWE Network. But these days on local independent shows, we got a lot of talent. I mean, you can see a poster behind me, the 5-Star Wrestling show, and you can actually see the picture of the Sting show from last year, which was really a spoken word tour. But those kind of shows, small independent companies, they have the ability nowadays to bring in guys like Rey Mysterio and John Morrison and that, and PJ Black, former Justin Gabriel, and Carlito and various guys. And it works for all of these alumni, Hall of Famers, former WWE, ECW, whatever stars. It works for them because even in recent years, about 10 years ago, myself, when they would announce, say, somebody like, I'm trying to think who would be a good example. Native American warrior Tatanka. He's just popped in my head, so I'll use him. Tatanka was right here in Dundee, Scotland, for 2 shows. Well, one show in Perth, but anyway, he was here in Scotland for 2 shows in 2011 and 2012. I knew that was before the WWE Network, so that qualifies. I knew who he was. I'd grown up watching him. So, people my age, slightly older, we knew who Tatanka was. We looked forward to him. We were excited about seeing Tatanka coming to town. And he's still available for bookings, by the way. A guy like Tatanka coming to town, coming to my local promotion, very excited. But some of the younger fans, I'm not talking about 8, 9-year-olds, I'm talking even slightly older, 15, 16-year-olds these days, might not exactly know who Tatanka is. They may have heard of the name. He's a huge legend now on a WWE Legends deal. Hopefully, maybe one day going in the Hall of Fame. But some of the younger fans who missed his time might not have heard of him, might not have really seen him. But guys, people can now go on the WWE Network and say, and after they hear an announcement, okay, Tatanka is coming. Whether it be here in Dundee, Glasgow. I know actually on I think it's the 4th of June. Tatanka and Carlito are going to be in Aberdeen, Scotland, for a company called WrestleZone. And fans now can go, right, Carlito, Tatanka, and go on the WWE Network, search them out, and see exactly who these guys were. You could use the search bar and find many of their matches online. Whether it be Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, whatever it is, it really does work for the older wrestlers themselves. Even the guys like Teddy DiBiase who have retired and will not wrestle, but they're still a major name, the Hall of Famer, of course. Fans can go back, and and I know there's DVDs, and I'll talk about that as well before I finish up. But people can go on the WWE Network, they can search for these people, and they can find out who they are, and they can see the skill, the high level of skill that people like Tatanka have, and they can really get, to know the older generations. Then one of the things that I've always said, another thing I've said as well, not just that the older guys get the great, and the XW stars, WW stars, whatever, whether you're a Hall of Famer, an alumni, or just a former star, if you're trolling the independent scene, you don't need to. Like I said, I mean, I kind of had a discussion with a guy called PN News once, a wrestling show at the Caird Hall. My brother's young brother. This was, I wanted to say 2003. I think it was around about that time. But some of my younger brothers at that time, they didn't know really who he was, but I'd known, so I'd seen him in WCW. But younger fans like that, they can go on, they can find out who these people are, because in those days, you used to be able to say, fans would ask you put pictures in WCW. You in WCW? Who did you wrestle? What events did you compete on? No, did you compete at WrestleMania? Did you ever meet such and such person? Shawn Michaels and Brooklyn Brothers actually asked another person who was at the show, April Hunter. Did you have you ever met Shawn Michaels? She had a couple of times, I believe. And you get those kind of questions from people, and it used to be a regular thing. Oh, did you ever wrestle such and such a place? Did you ever wrestle? Did you ever wrestle whoever? Did you ever wrestle at such and such a place? And what about this event? Did you ever wrestle? Like I said, WrestleMania. Do you ever have a match at WrestleMania? You can answer. Those discussions. Those guys can now say, yeah, I did. Go on the WWE Network, search for this event, search for this match, or search for my name, and this was my name. A lot of people, obviously, they change their name nowadays. You can search this name. I now wrestle under, say, PJ Black. So, search Justin Gabriel, and I'll spell it out for you. This is how you spell it. And people go back and watch Justin Gabriel matches in WWE. So, those kind of discussions, and that kind of publicity, for promoters, they think about, there's loads of, like I said, there's loads and loads of talent available for independent bookings these days. Promoters can go back and watch the matches, and obviously some people take take stuff from YouTube, etc. I mean, I know YouTube's been around, and you can do that kind of similar thing as well. But with the WWE Network, you can sit and you can watch, like I said, when you hear like Tatanka or Diamond Dallas Page or Bret Hart or Scott Hall or whoever, you hear that they're coming to your town, then if you're somebody like myself who knows that person, who's grew up watching them, or just simply remembers them as a wrestler, you can either re-educate yourself or educate others, younger siblings, family, friends. You can show these people. So it's a great selling point for all of those guys, that they can just simply direct people to the WWE Network, or even get promoters. Tell promoters, okay, when you're announcing me to be coming for your event, whether it be Hell for Lycra, Aberdeen Anarchy, whatever your big main wrestling event is, when you announce me, make sure that in your publicity materials you put "as seen on the WWE Network." Make sure when you announce me, check out the WWE Network, and you can see my stuff there. Just simply search for my name. It's a great advertising tool for a lot of wrestlers. One thing before I go, it has affected the DVD market. DVDs are not selling as well. Every pay-per-view immediately goes up on the WWE Network. That's the one thing. And that's the thing that will affect the DVD market as well. With every pay-per-view being on the WWE Network, a lot of the certainly in my case, again, older fans, I don't actually really buy any wrestling DVDs now, because I've got a subscription to the network. And to be honest, a lot of the DVDs now, they've got, obviously, for many years they've had a documentary plus matches on them. To be honest, if I don't feel that whatever the documentary is, and it's a rare one, like ones like Sting Into the Light, which I really recommend watching. But other than that, and it's really the story of Sting joining WWE, and it's a great documentary, great DVD. I got on Blu-ray when it was at the Sting tour. I really recommend people watch it. It's a fantastic one. But really, it's these days, people are not going to be wanting to buy DVDs. They're really going to pay for the DVDs, because a lot of the matches you can go and watch them on the WWE Network, unless it's a really groundbreaking documentary like the Sting one, when it's him joining WWE, and even then it's a bit of a restricted crowd that are wanting to really buy it, a bit of a limited attraction. Only really fans of myself of WCW and Sting that will really want to. So it's a kind of a niche market, I think they call it. For some of the documentaries. This is a really, amazing documentary. I think it's very, really interests people. I think the DVD market is going to suffer over the next couple of years. So it's the WWE Network. Working, yeah, I would say it is. Like I said, all the archive footage, the current content, like NXT, which is really doing great guns, the original programming, and plus The original programming, the upcoming shows, upcoming shows like Camp WWE, apparently the Divas Search is going to be up on the network, and the new Edge and Christian show that totally reeks of awesomeness is going up to the WWE Network very soon. Overall, I think it is great. I think the network isn't quite as what it could be. I've said it before, I'd like to see them perhaps, I know they've got their own, the event, the pay-per-view events, and they're all pre-shows. I would like to see, I don't think the WWE Network is quite exactly where it could be. I think it could go a little bit further. I would actually like to see maybe live stuff from WrestleMania weekend. I think I said it on my podcast on Podomatic.com and iTunes, Neil Malone's Wrestling and Life podcast. I would like to see them expand the really live portion of the network. I'd like to see them stream live stuff from the WrestleMania weekend for those who cannot be there, and they can cut in and out of the schedule. Obviously, WWE owns the network. Who makes up the schedule? WWE does. So they can. I would love them to do such a thing for WrestleMania, to and use it as a selling point. You can't be here. Well, let's bring it to you, but you must really be here next year. Really consider being here next year. If you're not here in Dallas, Texas this year, then be wherever it is next year. You could you can't make it to WrestleMania 32, come to WrestleMania 33, wherever it is. Come to that one, because look at the amazing stuff. You use it as kind of a selling thing, and look at all the t-shirts, and you can feature merchandise, and that would be a great experience, I think. And honestly, I think that would be a great thing to allow fans to participate more in the WrestleMania weekend as well. That those that are not there don't feel like, okay. I mean, that's one of the feelings over the last, well, certainly over the years. Actually, I think over the many years of WrestleMania, one of the things kind of has been you're sitting at home. If you're sitting at home at WrestleMania weekend, it's annoying. Obviously, everybody would love to be there at WrestleMania weekend, but really, you're there and you're really waiting for. Nowadays, I think we're supposed to be getting an NXT takeover on the Friday. I believe it's Friday before WrestleMania. It's going to be the takeover. Apparently, that's what's scheduled. So it'll be like, well, okay, we'll sit on. Okay, Thursday we'll do nothing. Friday, we'll watch the NXT takeover. Saturday, we'll do nothing until the Hall of Fame. Sunday, we'll do nothing. We'll sit and watch something else until WrestleMania begins. There is literally hours upon hours that WWE, and I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying broadcast from WrestleMania every single second of the weekend, but a couple of live shows, a couple of panel shows, a couple of walks around the meet and greet, so you see the various WWE superstars and legends and Hall of Famers meeting fans. So you get a great behind, really good experience. It's almost as if you're there. It's almost as you got a third person view when you could easily do it. Byron Saxton, Renee Young. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of telethons on these days, whether it be certainly here in the UK, like Children in Need, Sports Relief, whatever it is. Switch presenters every hour or so that somebody doesn't need to carry the show the entire time, and so they can do it, switch it up, switch it around. Have that. I would love that. I don't think WWE are planning on doing anything like that this year. Perhaps I would suggest it for next year. Taking a walk around. It's a huge area. There's always different props, different displays, different things. I love to go. I've never been to a WrestleMania, but I know from seeing like the stuff in the WWE magazines and online WWE.com, there's always loads of things to check out. There's always live wrestling as well. You could. There's always last year NXT stars were wrestling in front of a crowd at one point, at a couple of points. I think it was always like a camp show. Oh, come back here, the next wrestling show's at 2:00, and they do like 3 matches. Oh, come back at 3:00. We'll have another 3 matches for you. Whatever, have them wander around, interview various NXT, WWE superstars, Hall of Famers, etc. Like you said, really bring the WrestleMania experience to the fans who are not there. Get them involved. get it interactive. Social media these days. I mean, live on Raw, you've got was it the social media lounges on events, pay-per-views and so forth, where people use a hashtag or a Twitter feed, so you could, you could tweet at WrestleMania weekend or at, or hashtag WWE, and they pick out several questions, and they could get a couple of guests, and they could answer that questions. We've got Alberto Del Rio, we've got John Cena, we've got Baron Corbin, whoever it is, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Paige, numerous stars. We'll ask them a couple of questions. We'll catch up with them. We'll ask them a couple of the questions that fans have put forward to them. So there's certainly a huge amount of potential in the WWE Network, in my opinion. It's in its infancy, only 2 years on. I think it's a great project. I know WWE are kind of pushed a little bit. A lot of places, other things, NFL have also brought out. I think there's a baseball one. I think there's a couple of different sports. Obviously, a few different wrestling organisations have, of course, set up on-demand services as well. But I think that the potential for the WWE Network is huge. I think WWE really, I hope that there are some, but I don't think that WWE really grasps right now how big, how major that the WWE Network can work for them. I do with all that live stuff, like I said, they can stream whatever shows they want live. They can do whatever they want to do. It's in their own network. I hope there are people working on the WWE Network that really realise how major the WWE Network could be. So is it working right now? I'd say yeah, it is working. It has got great potential, and I'm looking forward to how they develop the network over the next few years. It could be a major selling point for fans. So certainly it's worth the money. $9.99 is, like I said, how much you pay every month. I could see it going up in the next couple of years a little bit, maybe $10.99 or $11.99. But if WWE continues to push new content, new series on the network, which they seem to do, like I said, that's one great thing about the WWE Network. They're not just sitting back and actually just throwing out a load of archive stuff. So, like some subscription services, once you've watched all the archive stuff, you're bored. You cancel your subscription because there's nothing else. The very few things added. You want to cancel your subscription because, right, well, I've watched all these movies before. I've watched all these TV series multiple times. You sat and you've watched them all. You've been watched all load of them. So it's like, oh, watch that. No, I'm not interested in that. I've watched that. Don't like that. Wouldn't watch that. There's a WWE, certainly in my opinion, that are working on the network. You've got to applaud them for that. They're really pushing the network. I think it's got good potential. Like I said, there's huge potential. It's really a lot of untapped potential in the WWE Network, but worth it financially right now, I would say yes. It's worth checking out. I think it's worth, even if you want to just watch the archive footage and you don't want to watch the modern day product, it's your control. It's what you want to watch. So, what is the WWE Network like 2 years on? I think it's really good. Like everything, it takes time to grow. I think over the next few years, with the right guidance, with the right people running it, and I don't know who runs it, but with the people who care for it, who want to nurture it along, I think the WWE Network could be huge, and I think it could very well be one of the most watched wrestling resources out there. Like I said, if they add more of the archive stuff of other companies, they've got a huge video library of them. I think honestly that when it comes to the WWE Network, there's huge potential. We've not even seen, I think there's certainly a great potential in the WWE Network when it comes to live shows and a lot of stuff. I think the WWE Network is good. It's still, like I said, it's still very young, only 2 years. And people have got to give it time. Like I said earlier, there are a tremendous amount of people I've seen in the last couple of months who the slightest thing goes wrong and they want everything for free and they want everything immediately, they want instant gratification. It's not going to happen. And like I said, I don't think the network's great. I don't think it's as good as or interactive or at the level it could be one day. But right now, I think as a wrestling fan, certainly as a WWE member of the WWE Universe, right now, it's really, really good. It's definitely worth the money right now. It's up. Like I said, I leave it up to people. I leave it up to people individually. If they want to pay for the W Network, go do it. If you don't want to do it, fine. Don't go into YouTube. Try and find whatever you want to on YouTube or other video websites, whatever it is. But right now, I think the W Network's doing well. I think it's good, but there is still a great potential in the network in the future.